Hey guys, Sandy again here, your licensed realtor and lender here in the Central Florida area. Today I want to do a topic on how to finance your first Airbnb property. How to finance any Airbnb property. What would be the best loan product out there to finance an Airbnb property? And when I say Airbnb, I mean short-term rental. And this can also be for any investment property, any rental property you're trying to finance, right? And I've been talking about the DSCR loan a lot. And the reason why I like it is because one, I'm a real estate investor. Two, I've used it. Three, it is one of the best loan products out there for real estate investing, whether you're going to buy it for Airbnb or otherwise. But let's talk about the Airbnb side today. So the good news about the DSCR loan is the property qualifies for the loan, not you. Your only role in this play is going to be to have a credit score of at least 640 and to have 20 to 25% down payment. Those are your roles, right? Once you have those two things, then the property itself will qualify. Now, let's talk about Airbnb properties for a while before you invest in them. You want to make the first rule number 101. First rule, make sure that the property you're buying is in an area that allows short-term renting, guys. If there's HOA in Florida, Central Florida area, we have, I think every other community is, I don't know, maybe 80% of the properties here are in a HOA in the Disney area. So you want to make sure that the HOA allows for short-term renting for a fact, right? Another thing you want to decide on is, do you want to have a property that's restrictive on just short-term renting, or do you want to be able to do short-term or long-term renting? I had some investor friends and they call it short-term, long-term. So we're going to call it, when I call them, I say, hey, I have a property for you. They're like, the first question they ask, because I've trained them so well, the first question they ask me, is it short-term, long-term? I'm like, yeah, it's short-term, long-term. Because they don't want to buy anything that's just only for short-term. And there's some developments in our area, not that it's bad, that will only allow short-term, meaning they have restriction on how long someone could stay in the property, including you. So there's some areas that, some resort, and most of these are the resort type development, like the ones with the big water park, and not all of them are like that, but some of them are, and beautiful lazy river, and the beautiful clubhouse, and the restaurants on property, and all that stuff. Some of those communities will only allow a 30-day rental, meaning you can only rent to someone for 30 days or less. Some of them will be 90 days, you can rent to someone for 90 days or less. Some of them, it really doesn't matter, you can rent for 1 day, you can rent it for 1 day, and I talk fast and I get excited. You could rent it for 1 day, or you can rent it for a year, it doesn't matter. So you gotta decide, how do you want your property to play out? Do you want to have the option to do short-term or long-term, or are you only interested in doing it short-term? You don't really care about long-term. It's all up to you. For me, I like to have both options, but I also know that the properties with the short-term, which I also have a few of those, they will also do well even if they have restriction on how long you can rent it for, based upon how you present the property, right? There are people coming to our area all the time, or across the world. Like, there are areas I remember we went to New York last year, and we did a short-term renting. We did an Airbnb property, and I was surprised that this particular, in the area it was in, was doing short-term renting, because it was next to the train station to get you to Manhattan, and it was right on the Hudson River, but there was nothing else to it. Like, there was no entertainment or theme park or anything that was close to it, but they were doing very well, and it was really a nice home. So you could do a short-term rental or Airbnb anywhere as long as it allows it. If there's no HOA, that's great. If there's no HOA sometime, and let's say it's a private community, like a regular private community with homes, you gotta make sure that your neighbors are okay with that too, because some neighbors are just really crazy, seriously. So it's actually almost a better idea to be in an area that is conducive to short-term renting, so you don't have to deal with neighbors, especially if you have neighbors that are close to you. If you have neighbors that are not too close to you, then it really doesn't matter. So choosing the property is going to be super duper important, right? And we do provide, we offer these Zoom calls all the time. We get these calls all the time. We go on Zoom with you, and we go over what you're looking to do, how to get the funds to do it, and the best way to finance it to get it done, right? So you could always give us a call. There should be numbers here, down here, 407-791-4713, to set up a Zoom call with us. We do operate 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week, so you call us anytime. And we give a lot of knowledge, a lot of information. You don't have to work with us, but we want you to get the best information possible. So you gotta decide where you want this property to be, and if you want to do short-term, long-term, or just short-term only. Now, as far as your Airbnb is concerned, another thing with the DSCR loan, you're gonna have to look at what is going to be your utilities, right? Your electric bill, your water bill, gas. Are you maintaining the lawn? Or is that a part of the HOA? Do you have a HOA? Are you maintaining the pool? All this will come into play. The good thing is if the property is already in a short-term rental program and you can get the numbers from the seller, then that would be great. If it doesn't have that, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing though, guys, because you can use different websites like AirDNA and those different websites to kind of have an idea, or just go on the Airbnb platform and figure out, just bring up that area and see what other people are renting their properties for in that area and how decorated it is. That'll give you a lot of ideas. A lot of when people are like, well, Sandy, if I buy this community, this property I'm about to buy, the owners live there, even though it's one for short-term renting, they live there and now they're going to move. So how do I know it's going to operate? I'm like, let's find some other homes in the development that's doing short-term renting. Let's see how they're renting and let's see how decorated they are. So you'll know how to decorate your home here for Airbnb. In our area, decoration is a big deal, right? You could Disney theme it out, as long as it's modern, because the reason why is we are competing with new construction. There's a lot of new construction short-term rental in our area and you want to compete with that. So even if you have an older home, you still could make it into a newer home, like modernizing it so it makes sense. So financing the property, you gotta have a credit score of 640, you gotta put 20 or 25% down or more. So you could either pull equity from a home that you already have to get into Airbnb. 2 or 3, you could come together as partners to buy the property with the down payment, and then you gotta decide if you get into a partnership, who's gonna be running the property. So to finance the property, the best financing I'm going to say is DSCR. One of the other reasons I like DSCR as well is because you could close in a trust or in an LLC. You don't have to close in your name. Another thing with a DSCR loan is if you have a business entity and the business already have credit, you could finance it through the business credit. You may have to guarantee the mortgage, but you can still finance it through the business credit. And business credit is a whole other different video we got to do, right? And a lot of people are now learning more and more about building business credit. And just to give you a little snippet in a nutshell, what you do is first you open an LLC. You register the LLC or the corporation with Dun & Bradstreet. You get your Dun & Bradstreet number, and then you start to do like different prepaid credit cards to start to build the business credit. So you could do like a gas card at the gas station, a supply, maybe go to Office Supply or Home Depot or Lowe's based on what you're into, and then that will help you to do that. So there's a lot to it. So give us a call and we'll give you some information on how to get started in financing your first Airbnb property. Also, we have quite a few videos on YouTube that you can also watch to get more information as well. So again, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you later.